All right, welcome to Pass the Mic for Friday, November 3rd, 2023, episode 92 on Zoom. Joining me, Mr. Michael Gervasi. How are you?
What's up? What's up?
Welcome. I think we have family in the house. Do you want to do some introductions here?
Yeah, man, my man here. So this is my nephew Alex. Now I've instructed him not to call me Uncle Mike. Alex just had his 24th birthday. I remember the day he was born, 1999. The hospital. There was a lot of infighting about who got to be in the room with him. So he came in the world with women scrapping over who got to be in the room when he was born. But this is my man Alex. Alex, you want to
Welcome.
Me, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
Family infighting, not in an Italian family at all. That sounds shocking.
I'll say I do remember the 90s like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
99, that was my second year in teaching.
Jeez.
All right, feedback from last week. 2 weeks in a row, we got guests. Last week we had the counselors on, Miss Palazzolo, Miss Tresham, Miss Walters. A lot of positive feedback on their discussion about the college plan. We learned a lot that we misspoke and said it's late in the game. It's not late in the game. We learned about the new FAFSA date. I got a lot of feedback on that. I also got feedback from Mr. Stoltz, who enjoyed the live feedback that we did the first time ever. He was pretty happy about that. And if you notice in Tom Pack's photo collage, he includes Mr. Stoltz's feedback that was live. And he was really proud of himself where he dropped the mic, M-I-K-E. He was a very witty gentleman there. Did you get anything else?
We got Max, potato soup, all underrated. He loves the bread bowls. I'm surprised Max would venture out of the normal soup bowl. You know, that's doesn't seem like a Max type thing. He also, I got a lot of comments about Tupac. Max, again, Tupac becomes an actor like Ice-T, Ice Cube, etc. He becomes an even bigger star because of it. And he mentioned Will Smith. He really does not like my feelings about Tootsie Rolls. That is like, this keeps coming up.
Now, listen, I thought of you last night as I was handing out candy and freezing in my garage because I had a giant cauldron of Tootsie Rolls, all the different types, and I was eating them. Last night, it was so cold. They are not a good candy. It does not take long for them just being outside. I went to go bite into one. I almost lost a tooth.
Yeah,
I'm going to say this. Tootsie Rolls in weather like last night, not a good choice. And I'm pro Tootsie Roll. They're very. I almost wanted to give a warning to the little kids as I was handing them out. You know, don't eat these.
Antoine also took issue with you. He asked if I was even a part of the episode last week because you were apparently controlling the narrative.
I stepped over you one time. That's all right.
The Aaron Torres, sorry, her husband, Tupac doesn't get as big if he doesn't die. But Cobain does because he had invented his own style of music. He's a legend regardless. That sounds like a very sort of pro alternative, I guess. But see, I take issue with that. I know a lot of people in music, Kelly Warren would really take issue with it, saying, it just became alternative was nothing more than a continuation of regular rock and roll. Certainly Kurt Cobain and Nirvana sort of were trendsetters, but I think Pearl Jam, I'm not anti Kurt Cobain, but I do think there's a little bit more here than that. So that did come up. Deontay agrees. I don't know if Pac or Kurt Cobain would be celebrated as much, but for hip hop, I think a lot of artists wouldn't be as big if Tupac wouldn't have lived a long life, would have lived. And he also argues that the music industry and how artists are treated would look a lot different. I'd be curious what he meant by that. Those were a couple things there. Yeah,
well, maybe he can come on the anniversary show and clarify, which we'll talk about that later.
Crystal Fowler. She did not realize until recently how big the Halloween thing was. So you touched.
Yeah, living in Gibraltar, says Gibraltar goes all out. But I mean, just down here too, down by us too, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then Kennedy Prokopchuk reached out as well. She's a little episodes behind, but she remembered the assembly.
Yeah, she did.
Where the girl got hurt.
Yes. Very disturbing.
Yes, it was very. So that's a lot of feedback last week. That's what happened.
Actually, Alex, were you there when
I remember the cheerleader?
Yeah, you were at that assembly. We only got through the first. We only got. There we go. We only got through the first.
Funny story. Josh Lazarski, few rows back behind me, passed out.
Really?
I'm seeing that.
Yep.
We're not exaggerating on how awful this
That's
was.
a
I mean,
fun,
that's
yeah, it's like a story we have. Like I didn't even know Josh like that at the time. And a
yeah,
few years back, he passed out. Yeah.
Wow.
it was bad. And you guys as freshmen would have been away from it at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's still, it was, see what I mean? Like we don't exaggerate here on Pass the Mic. It's interesting that we were there too. So we brought that back up. All right, as we normally do with our guests, we have our stock questions that sort of help to let people get to know you a little better before we get into the meat of the episode. So Alex, as we said, we just celebrated our 24th birthday, one more birthday to lower auto insurance rates, supposedly. It's your birthday. You can have any meal you like, going out, staying in, whatever you want. What is the meal? If it's going out, we want to know where. What are you having?
Every year on my birthday, me and my brother, Red Lobster is the move.
Okay.
So, why you
Oh, we
shaking?
got
I'm allergic.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah.
but you
What's
gotta
your
explain.
what's
Go
your
ahead.
order at Red Lobster besides the cheddar biscuits?
The cheddar biscuits are a move. Usually they have endless shrimp going on.
Okay.
So it's endless chicken Alfredo with shrimp, breaded shrimp linguine. It's everything.
Are
Sounds
you
like
trying to? Are you trying
Forrest
to
Gump.
yeah. So yeah, that's what I felt like.
Sorry, I stole your thunder again. So.
Yeah, yeah. There you go again. So Alex, you can eat with one person, alive or dead. Who's it gonna be?
I was thinking hard about this question. Probably a well-known athlete. Probably Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan or
No, no. Well, go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
Devin Booker.
Man, that killed a buzz in the room.
No. He's
Michael Jordan, Devin Booker. They're right there.
he's my favorite basketball player right now.
I get it. He's a good player. Very, very good player. All right. So the reason why I want Alex, before we get into, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll get into why I thought it'd be cool to have you on.
Yep. So from Taylor, Michigan. Just turned 24. Graduated from Eastern Michigan University. Went to Carlson High School. Was supposed to go to Taylor High School as it was Truman at the time. One reason I went because my not uncle, but
You could say your uncle. That's all right.
my uncle worked there.
Yeah.
He was a teacher there. So went to Carlson High School. Graduated there in 2017. Then I went to Eastern Michigan. Graduated in December of 2022 with a general business degree. And I do social media on the side. Basketball.
Okay. So before we get into this, we're going to tell this story. Your first day at Carlson, you don't know anybody. You're from Taylor.
Yep, don't know a soul.
And your bleeding heart uncle just felt so bad. I'm going to get hammered for this, Mike. This is just to let you know. Who'd you sit with at lunch on your first day of school?
Sat with my uncle and Mr. Menser.
Mr. Cliff Menser, yes.
Were you guys were you guys working lunch duty or did you just pop down
On
there?
the stage.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah,
Yep.
we still do that.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Well, and then following that story, a couple days later, tried meeting some new friends. This is a funny story. Tried introducing myself to this one kid, offered him my drink / juice box, and he didn't say a word to me.
But he took the juice box, right?
Juice box didn't say a word to me.
Now, did he give you anything in return for the trade?
No, nothing in return.
Just for allowing you to sit in that seat that cost you a juice box.
Yeah.
Learning about the mean streets of Gibraltar.
Yeah, right. So, okay. I mean, that's something you'd see in a movie. So, Alex, the reason why I want to have you on is you've become truly, this is like, there's no exaggeration, a social media sensation. So tell us what you do.
So I make basketball content on social media platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it. Basically just make real life basketball content. How it started was, as you know, NBA 2K, the video game, big fan of it. I started making real life content from that game and started doing it with my friends as a hobby. Soon enough, it started growing quickly. more views. Got an email. Businesses start contacting me about sponsorships. They want me to promote their products in my videos, just my normal videos promoting their products. And that's a little bit of a summary of that.
So you have, first off, and maybe Mike, maybe you could share with us the platform so we can post it. He's not gonna promote himself on here, Mike, because he doesn't need the tens of listeners we have.
We do. He needs to promote us.
Yes, right. So
We can work something out here.
Yeah. How many people do you have that follow you?
So on TikTok, that's my biggest platform. It's 150,000 people.
Okay.
YouTube is 41,000, and then my Instagram's like around 45,000 to 50.
How many views have you had?
I'd have to go back and look. On TikTok, it says amount of likes on there. I started posting in 2018. I have like 6 million likes.
Okay.
6 billion, I believe.
Billion?
6 billion, yeah.
Oh, whoa. Are you sure that's?
But it might be million. Let me check.
Yeah, billion sounds like I mean I could be wrong. I don't know. Social
billion,
media.
million.
Okay. All right, cool. Mike, do you have any questions for him?
Yeah. So how many hours a week do you devote to this? I'm just curious.
So,
roughly, I mean,
usually in the summertime, which is where I try to go every day. I try to go to the court every single day. Usually it's like a 4-hour window where I go there super early, 8 a.m. Usually weekends, 8 a.m. to 12. And then usually I try to do 5 videos a day, like record videos. And then I got to edit all of them. And then I post those throughout the week. And then the next weekend I go again and do the same process. So usually in the summertime, it's about 5 hours every 2 to 3 days of recording.
and what type of equipment do you use?
Really, I just so.
I mean, if you don't want to give away anything that would
No.
harm your
2018 when I first started, and this is like advice to anyone who wants to start. I bought a camera, which everyone says you need like all this equipment. You really don't. All I use is my phone and a tripod.
Really not even like in a mic. You just
No, I like for outside videos, people usually buy like microphones to put up close so there's no wind or anything. But yeah, just my phone and my tripod.
That's what I hear. These new phones, because remember, Mike, I got the big camera that we brought for Pass the Mic International with the microphone. Remember, Wally jacked it all up, our cameraman. And it is nice. But I find myself, it's so big and bulky. I can do, not that I'm anywhere near you, but you may not know this. I'm sort of a budding influencer on TikTok, reviewing concession stands.
There we go.
And it's just so much easier using my phone, just so much. And I don't notice much of a difference between that and the videos. Like, obviously the stuff we did in Europe, like those pictures were amazing. The video, I mean, it's obviously gonna be a little better, but I mean, it's not like it's a huge downgrade using, I mean, these iPhone cameras. I mean, we think back, Mike, to when we first started getting digital cameras and stuff. We joke around about it sometimes at work, and now, like, I don't even know why people would buy them.
Yeah, the only con I would say for using my phone is it's on me, I'm lazy, but I have thousands of videos in my camera roll I just don't delete from.
Organization. I totally understand what you mean by that.
I couldn't help but think, you think about like musicians and stuff like that who have, for every one song, they have 50 songs they didn't release. Is that kind of the same thing with you? You have, for every video you put out there?
There's days where I go record and I go to edit it and the wind is just terrible.
Really?
I can't even like hear myself. So I just scratch the whole video. Go another day and record it. But something, so kind of like that.
I feel your pain. I recorded a video a few weeks back at a football game. It was a great shot, great background. I had like the Hall of Famers walking behind me, and I was, I'm a novice, and I was recording it on the TikTok app, and I didn't realize that when someone calls you, it kills your audio. I didn't know that. Recorded this whole thing. What are you getting all upset about? I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. I'm just telling a story.
Who called you?
I I don't remember at this time.
You posted it, but you in fact, you announced it. Okay, go on. Anyway, go on.
So I lost my whole audio. So then I had to do a voiceover because I just lost it.
Yeah.
It almost broke up the Pass the Mic podcast.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping in because I'm going to forget this question. I'll be honest. Is everything you do recorded? Do you ever go live on any of these apps or anything like that?
So usually on TikTok, I go live a lot.
Okay.
Last year, might sound crazy, but when it was snowing out, I wanted to go live and go to a basketball court. Not to like hype anything up, but that was my biggest live viewership I've ever had. I had 2,000 people watching me
Oh
just
wow.
playing basketball outside, just on live, just TikTok.
generation, man.
It's
Very different. So Alex, I got two questions actually. Number one, do you financially, you don't have to obviously get into specifics, in fact, please don't, but do you profit off of this then?
I do. Yeah.
And the NBA has, in fact, for the listener or the viewer, I had that New Jersey Nets, I'm sorry, Brooklyn Nets. Jeez, oh, Pete, I dated myself there. The Brooklyn Nets shirt with the thing on the side. That was from you. Do you want to talk about that? Like, you get free stuff all the time from the NBA, right?
Oh yeah. So this was one of my first sponsorships I've ever had. It's called I was going crazy. It's called Jersey Frost. Basically, this company sells NBA gear, jerseys, shoes, socks, you name it. They wanted me to promote their brand, and they would give me a commission for promoting their stuff. So in my videos, I'd get free gear from them. I promote it. I have my own code, and people buy it using my code, which I make money off that. And then they send me free stuff every month.
Cool.
That was one of my first ones. And then now, branching off of that, I mentioned this to you. Way of Wade, which is Dwayne Wade's shoe brand. They saw me reviewing shoes from Jersey Frost. They contacted me. They want to send me free shoes from Way of Wade to promote in my videos for their brand. Same thing with Austin Reeves. They sent me a pair of his new release shoes to promote to other people, and they could buy it.
And so now Dwayne Wade actually, did he comment on your, what did he do?
Yeah, so after I got the shoes and reviewed them, he commented on my post, liked it, and then reshared it on his Instagram story.
Okay. Mike, anything else, or should we get into the
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask another. So when you record these videos, do you upload them individually to each of those apps, or do you upload them to one and then share them from that to the others? How do you normally go about your
So usually,
I guess your disbursement of the video?
yeah. So the platform I use to edit my videos is CapCut.
Mhm.
And then what I usually do is post it on TikTok, and then there's this app on Google or whatever. You can download your video from TikTok and just share it to all your other platforms. So Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, etc. So
Okay, so your edited work first goes to TikTok, and then you end up and I think most of a lot of times too, I think once you post a TikTok, I don't know if it's an automatic, it drops the video in my
yeah,
phone as well.
usually it has a watermark,
Yeah.
which I try to remove that. There's an
Okay.
app remove, and then it removes the watermark, and you can post it wherever else you want.
Okay. Excellent. What advice do you have for someone that is maybe sitting there, maybe they've started their first YouTube channel, maybe they are starting maybe they are, a lot of people are on TikTok and this sort of thing, but they're just doing it to dance or have fun. But maybe somebody wants to actually, and I know a lot of people do Twitch, a lot of gamers, that's another platform that people use, which that's something, Mike, that I'm amazed with. These kids watch people play video games for hours. What advice do you have to somebody that's sort of just starting off in this? I think you gave a little bit of advice saying your phone is just fine. You don't have to spend all this money. Is there anything else that you want to, because I guess I'm saying, do you ever, I'm sure with the number of people you listed, you get haters every once in a while, or somebody that's going to, so if you got any advice about that, what would you like to tell the audience?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have friends who see my stuff and they're like, man, I would love to do that stuff. The biggest advice I would say is just one, be consistent. you might have one video that does 5 views, and then your next one might do 1,000 views or 100,000 views. Like, you just never know. Just stay consistent. The second one is my biggest one is not everyone's gonna like what you post. As long as you like what you post, that's really all that matters.
Yeah. You have pretty
Yeah.
thick skin, you'd say?
Yeah, I mean, over the years, I've gotten so much hate on my stuff. It's someone hiding behind a screen just saying stuff, and it didn't stop me. So I love doing this stuff, and it keeps me going.
It is one of the better parts of getting older is as you get older, the skin gets thicker just
Yep.
naturally. And I think you raise a good point about being consistent, just keep going. I know just from looking at like our data, if we take a week or two off, it really hurts the next episode. It just does.
Yeah.
And you know, like you said, even if you put something out that only gets, as long as it gets out there, I think that a little lag in content, that's just the way people are. So I think you're right. Like, and that's was me sitting last night. I haven't done a concession stand the last couple of weeks. So I'm like, I'm eating these peanut M&Ms. I'm gonna just record something in my garage as I'm eating these M&Ms. You're absolutely right. And I'm nowhere near as big as you are, but I definitely agree with you saying that the work of consistency and putting stuff out there helps a long way.
Yeah, and once it's out there, I mean, it's gonna, unless you take it down, obviously, but one night it can grow from 5,000 to 10,000 views. Like, you just
Yes.
never know.
Just how it's found. So
the algorithm, and just want to stay consistent and stay in the algorithm, basically.
yeah, excellent.
I guess I would add, are there any haircut requirements? I'm just kidding.
I don't make hair jokes because I tell my son, grow it out as long as you can now, because one day it's gonna
Very true. Very
ahead.
true. Very true. Yeah.
So, well, excellent. I mean, that's some. I'm I really love the feedback. I'm very impressed. I don't know if you've been listening to any of what Mike's been giving me a hard time about this TikTok account. He's calling me Bobby Brown, like I'm trying to leave the Past the Mike podcast here. But in all honesty, about this last spring, I was at a track meet, freezing my tail off. For years, I had tweeted about concession stands when I go get something about a good place. But Twitter, it's sort of like a lame. It's really fallen back even worse now since then.
Yeah.
And it was only just words. So then I'm like, I was eating this bag of popcorn. I decided I had TikTok and I was a consumer for months, just never producing. And like, I'm gonna make a video about this. And I'm not gonna say it blew up but it, like, people liked it. I run into people last night, Mike, this is no joke. I was handing out candy, and all these middle school kids that would come up and get candy and be like, hey, you're the concession stand guy, as I was handing out this candy. And I just played it. But like, I enjoy it. My kids get a little embarrassed, but whatever. I like to eat. I like concession stands. So it is what it is.
Hey, you're getting bigger.
Literally and figuratively.
Like, the court I go to now, like, it's so hard to record because so many people see my stuff, and like, they ask like, oh, are you the guy who does that? And like, yeah, that's me. Like,
hey, did you ever record a video on Bowen Fieldhouse? Isn't that what it was called, Mike? The old gym?
I think it was, yeah. I think it was called that.
The old basketball gym where Eastern played. Is that even standing? I think it is, because my daughter had a gymnastics meet there.
I did not record there, no.
You know what I'm talking about? It was like in Central Campus.
Yeah.
When back in the old days, that's where me and your uncle would go to watch basketball games.
Three EM. I didn't realize that 3 EMU alum here.
Yeah, Bowen Fieldhouse. Man, you were right up on the action there. That was it was a gym. That's what it was. So, all right, excellent. Well, that's some great stuff for those of you that are content creators, right? That's the correct term. I hope you got some good info, get some good feedback, and it's a modest guy. That's what's impressive about this. You're very modest about your success, and like those numbers are something. Those are exciting numbers. I was happy when I hit over 1,000 followers on TikTok so I could go live. You know what I mean? Like, it was the threshold for that. So, all right, well, overrated, underrated this week. We're going to sort of tie in. You sort of tied in with we're going with shoes. All right, overrated, underrated shoes, whatever you want. Remember, overrated's not bad. So what do you have as your overrated shoe?
Like a brand or like a bat?
It could be anything brand, type, specific model.
Okay, so overrated. I think LeBron's basketball shoe recently, his shoe lines are overrated. Um, I've heard a lot of people just get injuries. Um, Even like those shoes are more of like a bigger body type player for those shoes. Yeah, I would say those are overrated.
All right. Mike,
Uh, for me, I'm torn between two things. But I'm gonna go with you mentioned LeBron's. I think any of God, man, this is
I don't know what you're gonna say.
I'm gonna get drilled for this. But I think all these new shoes are just too busy and like it almost looks like a little kid got a hold of a crayon and started writing on these.
this is
You
get
know,
off my lawn.
this is, but I'm looking. In fact, I got the Piston game on right now. There's some simple, like Marvin Bagley, Marvin. He's got Nikes on that are very simple. I like the simple shoe. So to me, the overrated are any of these kinds right now that these young kids are wearing. That, like I said, looks like when my daughter was like 5, got a hold of the shoe and just started craning them up. So that's my overrated.
You wouldn't all the weight shoes they sent me. You wouldn't like a single pair.
I know. I'm fully aware of this.
All right, my overrated, and it's a flat type of shoe, and I'm gonna call it a shoe because I see people wearing them in school now all the time. To me, it's slippers. Totally overrated. People wear them outside of the house, which I don't get at all. And then even for in the house, I don't understand. Just wear, like, I wear socks when I'm walking around the house. I don't need a second pair of shoes to walk around my house. It is a wasted type of material of clothing. Overrated slippers. Never want a pair. I guess the only place I think I'd ever want a pair is maybe if I'm in a hospital for like a long stay.
I guess let me ask you this then, Mike, because I was thinking about what do you think about Hey Dudes then?
Hey,
Oh,
dudes.
They're I'm sure you've seen them. The fact that you don't know this, so they look kind of like a slippery. They're very versatile shoes. People wear them with shorts. They wear them with dress pants. I do wear them from time to time. I do find them to be a little overrated. At the same time, when I tore my Achilles and first put shoes on,
Well, I noticed
really nice.
I put that on about like being in a hospital or something. I think
Yes,
there is
yeah.
a point where something like that, but I mean, like just in general,
So you
I
know what Hey
don't,
Dudes are though, eh?
I have no clue.
Wow.
I basically have tennis shoes, a couple pair of tennis shoes. I got my work dress shoes, brown and black, and I don't want to go any further because I'm going to get into my underrated. That's what I have. So,
All right.
all right,
Alex,
underrated. What do you got, Alex?
uh, socks and sandals, socks and slides, underrated.
why is that underrated?
You just whenever I wear slides, I never wear them like bare feet. I just feel more comfy with socks. I wore them to the mall today.
See, that used to be a fashion faux pas. Like you weren't supposed to do that, but that's everybody seems to do it. So I'm with you on that. I don't like if I'm wearing flip flops. I do not want my feet showing. So I'm with you on that. I'm gonna go with my senior year of high school. I bought a pair of what's called Adidas Sambas. Very simple pair of shoes, super comfortable. And I'm just riding that out with Adidas in general. It's hard to call one of the top brands underrated, but I just think the simplicity of Adidas is why I like it so much. So I ride or die with Adidas generally. I went through a small stage there where I was buying Under Armour, but Adidas is simplicity and comfort. Starting with the Sambas and just continuing. I don't have a pair of Sambas right now. I've come close to ordering them again, but they're super light, super comfortable. I think they're fashionable. So I'm going with Adidas with in parentheses Samba right after.
All right. My underrated is simply, and I bought these things years ago. I think it was either Kohl's or J.C. Penney's. Just a pair of like boots, and they're like the sort of like the work boots, I guess, but not like just where they're like waterproof a little bit. Because coaching cross country, walking through that metro park, even if it's not snow, I dread the days that I forget to wear boots and I wear tennis shoes because your feet are soaked walking through there. I use them for snowing. My backyard from May to now, I keep a pair of slides back there because sometimes we take the dog out on the leash. If it's late at night, I don't want to deal with a skunk or anything. Or when I have to go back there and pick up dog crap. Well, now it's time to shift. Once it hits this time of year, I put a good that same pair of boots. So I use that pair of boots basically for snow blowing and doing this in the backyard. A good pair of boots that don't even have to be a ton of money. That these were like $40, $50. They've lasted forever. I bought new laces. Having a good pair of boots, highly underrated. Highly underrated. Especially, there's nothing worse on a cold, wet day than having your feet all wet, with or without socks.
Agree.
Yeah. So, and they don't have to be fancy and expensive. I don't know what these are. These are some off-brand that have lasted. So. And I still remember back in the day when I worked in the pipe shop having a good pair of steel toe boots. You always wanted to have, I mean, the number of times I dropped stuff on that.
For some reason, I just can't picture the librarian wearing steel-toe
Well,
boots at any point.
there was had to roll. I was a blue collar guy back then. All right, we'd love to hear everyone's input on overrated, underrated shoes. Hot mic take. Alex, you told us before the show you do have a hot mic take for us. What do you got for us this week?
Phoenix Suns 2024 NBA champions.
That's your hot mic take.
Yeah, you not impressed with that?
No, I'm not.
No,
All right.
Oh,
The
Brandon,
Brandon,
winning.
The Brannons will be happy.
Yeah, they will. Are they listeners?
I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. They were always big Suns fans.
All right. So for me, today, you know what? I was going to do something else, but text messages has just been blowing up today. So I'm going to talk about this. Bobby Knight passed away today.
Breaking news.
Yeah, legendary Indiana basketball coach Bobby Knight. And, I'm on a couple threads where people are really waxing poetically about him. And that's fine. I'm not pro or anti Bobby Knight. I want to know, first off, and I've probably discussed things like this on the past on the show. He has a very complicated legacy. There was a 30 for 30 on him, and in a lot of ways, he was not a good guy. And so I want to just other figures in our pop culture, sports, be it actors, actresses. We lost Matthew Perry this week as well. But Matthew Perry was pretty much beloved. I want to know. I want just examples of complicated figures like this. Like, if you remember correctly, Alex, I'm not going to ask you this because you were one. Mike, do you remember when Bobby Knight was essentially fired from Indiana? What happened? The whole story behind it.
Didn't he choke? Was that when he choked a kid?
It started with him choking a kid, and like that. On this thread, these guys, my guys,
in practice, right?
In practice, and they got it on video.
We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice, man. So these are my guys. We're talking about this, and how it was a different era, and they're kind of, like I said, just waxing poetically. He choked a kid. Like, I don't know. I don't care what era you're in. You can't choke people.
No, can't put your hands on a kid.
He did some weird stuff in the locker room his last year. He, I'm not going to get, it's a family friendly show, but to motivate his players, he went in the bathroom and did something with his bodily functions. I'll leave it there. It's nothing like that would inappropriate in a sense that I hope nobody's mind went to, but he just did something really, like, that's not okay. But Isaiah Thomas, my all-time favorite NBA basketball player, just loves him still to this day. And, so he's just such a complicated figure. So I want the listener, I'm sure Tony Saavedra, although Tony hasn't commented in a while, I wonder if he's still listening, but I'm sure Tony would have some good ones. I can think of a few other ones, just these figures that are very complicated, that are, we like to put our heroes, so to speak, in boxes, good box, bad box, and Bobby Knight, I think, falls somewhere in the middle. Who are some other people that are there? So that's my hot mic take.
Yeah, a good one. I'm sure there's gonna, like I said, in our profession, and he's really in the same profession. He's an educator.
Yeah,
you can't put your hands on a kid.
Right.
You can't. You just can't do it. My hot mic take, not as controversial. This past week, I bought as my wife did the math, I bought our third refrigerator in the past 8 years. 8 years. The first one, of course, was no big deal. That's the one we owned for a while, died. Then we bought one from Sears that lasted about 2 years. Compressor died. That, of course, is when I bought the bottle of champagne and celebrated Sears going bankrupt. We replaced it with a Whirlpool or Maytag, something like that. I don't know. Lasted 5 years, died this last weekend. I am over it. Meanwhile, the college dorm fridge I had from 93 on is still running back behind my library. Okay, that was actually in use prior to 93 by my aunt at her restaurant. just awful luck. I'm just here moaning and complaining about it. I'm not going to buy another bottle of champagne. I don't blame Lowe's as much as I blame the company of this one. Kenmore was a Sears brand. That's why I celebrated their downfall. And that one only lasted 2 years. At least I got 5 years out of this one. The repair guy came, said the compressor shot, $1,500 repair, which obviously you're not putting $1,500 into something that's 5 years old. So good times of being an adult. The joys of home ownership, the American dream, all that stuff. So that is my week. And I just want to say, I hope General Electric makes good fridges, because that's what I went with this time. And let's see, 5 years from now, Nate will already be out of the house. Maybe it'll be just Elise and I can just survive off a cooler or something.
No.
So you're giving it 5 years?
Well, that's what the guy at Lowe's said. He goes, 5 years, that's about the average now. I'm like, oh, thanks. So
It's terrible.
unfortunately, I don't know anybody else that's that short. All right. So as we wrap up every episode, we were right about the Lions. I was wrong about the Steelers.
Yeah.
Lions are off, so no Lions game this week, right? They are on their bye. So the Steelers are actually playing tomorrow night against Tennessee, and to me, which is a must-win game for them. They actually got a little lucky because Cleveland lost, and the whole AFC North is so, tight and scrambled together. I just can't watch them. Their offense is so bad.
Oh, it's awful. It's dreadful.
It's awful, and I still can't believe I have tickets to go watch them in Indianapolis. Like, to go, like you said, they're probably going to win the game 9-6 or something.
Yeah.
But
Gardner Minshew is the other quarterback. There's a lot of excitement going to that game.
But my God,
it's Matt Canada.
They have gone like 50 some games without getting 400 yards.
Yeah,
So
I heard that statistic. That's crazy.
that is crazy. I mean, eventually you play somebody that, like, it's in Tomlin, it's going to get to a point where it's going to be his downfall, that his loyalty, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. They'll probably win this week. They're probably going to win this week and bounce back. They're home. It's a short week. Tennessee is basically another version of them.
Yeah.
So and they're sort of mailing it in. So are you upset with the Lions non-moves at the trade deadline?
I am. I do think I get caught up in names sometimes, and those guys are big names, especially the guys that went from the Commanders to San Francisco and Chicago. But those teams got better, and I think it's almost like the Lions are so new at this. They, what do they do? And but San Francisco added a pass rusher. The teams there, the three main teams are competing with, all got better on the defensive front. That's a little scary to me. So yeah, I was disappointed. Let me ask one last thing. Just will next week at this time, will there be any more twists and turns in the Michigan saga with Harbaugh? And I don't know if what we call it, spy. It's not Spygate. That's already been used. But will there be any more twists and turns in this?
Well, I'll speak. Remember when we first talked about this, as the state of Michigan man, I said this was all overblown, and I thought this was just another. Well, as more and more news came out, it's embarrassing. And I'm not saying, you know me now. I'm not a hater anymore.
Right.
And if that's really him on the sideline of Central Michigan, I don't know if you're catching this breaking news. And if they talked to Jim McElwain and he said he's going to look into it and figure out who this person was on his own sideline. If that was that guy, I don't know how you survive that.
Yeah.
If he snuck into this game wearing Central gear, and again, and I don't want to hear, and Mike, you and I have talked about this. One time something happens and you catch wind of it as the head coach, I'm not blaming the head coach.
Right.
Because at that point, as the head coach, you can say, hey, this is dumb. We don't need this. Cut it out. But this isn't one time. And if it happened as recently as the Central game and you're worried about Michigan State, I guess back then you didn't know. You didn't know they were going to be a complete mess.
Well, they were pretty awful a year ago, though. So
yeah, but if that's part of that is true, if it gets to that, it's just embarrassing any way you look at it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I really have a lot of hope for them this year because I think their team is really, really good. But this is just this story. It keeps taking these plot twists that, man, I'm getting more nervous by the day, and it's getting worse and worse seemingly. And man, it's just like these layers that keep coming out that are just more bizarre. Now, I thought McElwain today wasn't the report that he doesn't think it was him? I mean, it looks an awful lot like the guy.
I don't know. The last I heard is he was going to look into it. So
Yeah. Okay.
Do you think it will be like or like taken care of before like the big playoff games?
I don't know. The way the NCAA always works, I'd say no, but this is different uncharted territory. So I don't know. And Michigan's a big name. It's really hard, I'm sure. And these are human beings too. I'm sure they don't want to. They know what Michigan is this year, and the kids didn't do this. So that's the other factor in this. You don't want to ruin all these kids who've worked so hard to get to this point. All these kids that came back to school, and like I said, they're talking about 19 guys going to the NFL. This is tough. So I don't know. I don't envy the NCAA in this position, whatever decision they have to make.
One quick thing. Did you see what Deion Sanders said about this whole
Yes,
thing?
I did. And it's fair. I mean, I think there's points to be made all around, but he also said that before some of this other stuff came out too. I don't know how he feels at this point. So we shall see.
Well, I want to end the episode. First of all, I want to thank Alex. It was awesome. I love the input. You want to plug in? You want to plug the channel? I guess we should give you that opportunity. When we were joking earlier, but do you want to plug your TikTok account or YouTube channel while you're here?
Sure. It's just Gevo, JustGevo on all platforms.
There you go. Just Gevo. You can check that out and check out his stuff. God, we almost forgot the biggest part of what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So the big announcement we want to make, we have set a date and time for the anniversary episode, the 2-year anniversary. Think about that. We started off small, just down in the studio and doing an episode on Halloween candy, right? And stuff like that. We have set the date as Wednesday, 2 weeks from today, Wednesday, November 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We will post the Zoom link on our Facebook page, on the Pass the Mic Facebook page. If you're not on Facebook, I will also post it with this episode in the Spotify info. I'll post it in the next couple of weeks so that way you can log in and you can find it here in the episodes. Again, we're gonna have a Zoom room. We're just gonna have an open room. We're gonna welcome our guests. We're probably bringing 2 at a time, right, Mike? Isn't that how we did it?
Yeah, it worked out great.
Two at a time. Just a chance for you to introduce yourself. We might have a stock question that we're going to ask you guys. Maybe we'll come up with one the next week. We'll say what it's going to be. And then we'll let you guys pick an overrated, underrated, anything you want to be overrated, underrated on. And we're fine with that. Sound good, Mike?
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah, so we'll post that link. We look forward to people. Ren Dog, make sure you got that night off. You're not working down at LCA, throwing people out of the arena or anything like that. It's been another great week again. You want to wrap things up? You want to say goodbye to your nephew and wrap things up, Mike?
Alex, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. And I think hopefully we get a little bit of a younger demographic here listening to us too. So Alex, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. This was fun. I would do it again.
Great, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.